To learn to live the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. It's all free. Well, I think it's official. I think fall is upon us. It's September 21st today. And it's I woke up this morning, it's 57 degrees. It rained last night. Unexpectedly, we didn't have it in the forecast all day, and then there was a bolt of lightning. A few seconds later, there was a clap of thunder, and then it just started raining, and it rained most of the night. So it cooled off. The wind's from the north. It's pretty windy today, you know, spotty wind. It's off and on. So I'm going to try to keep my back to the north because my mic is on my chest. Try to keep the wind noise down. I don't know, I'm kind of excited about this winter. I don't have the tiny house to build. Last winter I had to build a tiny house, and we got into the tiny house late July, and just in the nick of time too, because we had that deep freeze right when we got in there. Of course, all our firewood was still pretty wet, so the stove really struggled. The wood stove really struggled with the wet firewood, but we made it. I mean, we used a lot more wood than I had hoped for. So this year, with the wood being drier, fingers crossed that we do much better. I think that we've planned out everything very well. I think we got everything in better shape. We got the seals on the wood stove fixed. The chimney's clean. We cleaned the chimney. Oh, I think around March, April time frame. I think we got plenty of dry firewood. We got sycamore sitting on the porch waiting for the fall temperatures. I'm not a big winter fan. I got my long sleeves on already. This week is supposed to get down to 46 degrees on Wednesday. So we'll see if I need to turn on the wood stove. Probably not. It stays pretty nice in the house. The other day I made a video where I was talking about the difference between what I'm trying to teach or demonstrate and what preppers are trying to demonstrate. And I was talking about sustainability. That in my mind, if you want to be a prepper, work towards being self-sustaining. Preppers, I get the sense, are secretly hoping for that catastrophe that sends the world into chaos indefinitely, and they're the ones that are going to come out at the other end and have survived. The thing is they always talk about storing supplies. Storing medical supplies, storing food, storing gasoline, making sure your generator's running. Just the other day I got a comment, why don't you store gasoline? Because that's not self-sustaining. Eventually I will run out of gasoline. I'm trying to get away from gasoline as much as possible. This is why I want to buy an electric log splitter, which Carolyn and I have decided we're going to wait another year on that maybe. I was really excited. I was going to go buy it today, as a matter of fact. And we started to get ready to go, and I said, do you really want it? She said, no, not yet, because we got that manual log splitter, and she really likes the exercise of that, and she doesn't want to get away from the exercise just yet. And I split it with the maul, and I'm doing pretty good with that. You know, my shoulder, I hurt my shoulder a while back, and I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to split it, but it's healed up, and I'm fine now. We're just going to measure it year by year to see if we want one or not. So I don't really need the gasoline items. The gasoline items I got is the generator. I'm trying not to run the generator. I want the generator as a backup supply only. I can convert it over to propane if I need to, but if everything went bad, you'd run out of things eventually, so you got to figure out how to get away from gasoline and propane. So the only thing I use propane for is hot water. Our water heater uses propane. We got that on-demand water heater. Cooking, which Carolyn cooks probably half and half. She cooks with wood. She will start the fire and cook with wood. So I definitely have no concerns about cooking. The gasoline, what we have there is a push mower, the tiller, and the riding mower. Now the riding mower I know we don't have to have last year, or the push mower. Last year I cut this entire yard with a sickle blade. So I don't need gasoline. Chicken's laying an egg. She makes noise when she lays eggs. Well, actually Frenchie does, the rooster. He wants everybody to know she's laying an egg. I don't understand why. So the only thing I think I really need is maybe another battery or two. I got 4, and I think I could use another one, and they're $80 a piece, and we're gonna go get one here within the next week or two, I would think. So, and then I feel like the chickens take care of our food. I talked about this in that video where the food stockpiling doesn't make sense to me. I talked about how the grocery store ran out of chicken. That's why we raised our own meat birds. Everybody kept talking about cost comparisons, and yeah, the meat birds cost more than the bag chicken you can buy at the store. The thing is the store ran out of chicken. That's why we raised the meat birds, because I was getting concerned that chicken supply was running low. And in one of the stores that we go to, it's still out. At least it was a couple weeks ago. So my concern is that the store isn't going to have the food that we need. So we got to figure out how to be self-sustaining. I also pointed out that one of the things I can do if I wanted to raise meat birds is I could actually reproduce the birds we got here. They don't produce as much meat as the meat birds did. Now, the other thing I was thinking is, if we have to, it seems to me the hatchery would probably still have meat birds available if the store didn't have any chicken. So we might be able to go to the hatchery and still buy chickens if necessary. That way we wouldn't even have to worry about reproducing these chickens. Well, of course, I got the snotty comments, the ones that just don't seem to understand. Several people say, well, how are you going to feed the chickens? I actually thought about that when I made the video. Sorry about the shading in the camera. I'm trying to stay out of the wind, but then when I turn, there's no sunlight. So in the video, I actually thought about saying how you could feed chickens, but I thought, man, that's just so obvious. Why would anybody even question that? Sure enough, people questioned it. You're going to have to buy chicken food, so you're not self-sustaining. Well, I've already proven to you that I can take care of the chickens without buying food. Here is what is called sorghum, right here. And what was so neat about this is we had the chicken run over here. Now the camper's over here. Over here is woods. So it only gets a couple hours of sunlight a day. It doesn't get very much. So when the chicken run was over here, we was feeding the chickens this scratch feed right here. And it just has different grains in it, including sorghum. Corn, I don't know what all is in it. Well, the chickens must have dropped some of the seeds after, 2 or 3 weeks of it sitting here. And as a result, this grew. Carolyn actually comes down here and feeds this to the chickens regularly. I would say 3 or 4 times a week. Now you may see that it has actually started growing new seeds. So the seeds have dropped off of the old ones, fallen to the ground, and new plants have actually started growing. So this stuff grows really well. I could throw this anywhere, all over the yard if I needed to. Let it grow, and they would have sorghum from one small bag of fancy feed. Now, sorghum is pretty expensive to buy in the store. So buy the fancy feed and you throw it around, you get corn out of it, you get sorghum. What you have to think is, how can you reproduce things over and over again? And here's the perfect example. Take 2 or 3 of these plants, get the seeds, and you can throw them out again, and you'd have more for next year. The other thing is the corn that we're going to grow, you dry that out and you can feed the corn stalks to the chickens. I've done that before. And the corn stalks and the corn is very fattening. So you want to use that in the winter because you want to fatten them up so they'll stay warmer. Corn's a big deal in the winter. Don't give them corn in the summer because then they overheat. The other thing is I think we get too locked into conventional ways of doing things. Chickens, first of all, can free range. Now, they won't get enough food free ranging. They will get some, but there's lots of things you can do. If you were to butcher an animal, now this is going to be gross, but it's in the Facebook groups all the time. What you do is you butcher it and then you wait for the maggots to collect. Chickens love maggots, and that's lots of protein. So you put the guts of the butcher into a bucket, you wait for the maggots to collect, and then you take the maggots, of course you wear gloves, and you throw the maggots. It stinks. You put it down in the woods, yeah, all that stuff. Another option is, I've been trapping these raccoons. What a lot of people will say is eat the raccoon. Well, you only collected 1 raccoon. You probably eat a raccoon in a meal or 2. It wouldn't last you very long if you ate it. But if you cooked it up and fed it to the chickens, it would last days. With the chickens, I'm getting eggs out of them. As long as I keep getting eggs out of them, I have food for myself. So I just got to keep these little things fed. Deer hunting. Now somebody's going to say, oh yeah, you know, that'll only give you a month's worth of food. The thing is, you don't feed yourself with the deer. You feed the chickens. And then you can can the deer. The other thing is you can actually, and I know people are going to say, oh, that's terrible. How can you do that? But chickens will eat chicken meat. We give our chickens scrap food all the time. You can give your chickens scraps. Another thing we do is, as we're deboning and we got all that cartilage and just meat we couldn't get off, we can throw the bones in there and they'll eat all that meat off the bones. Medical supplies. There's a lot of ways to get medical supplies on your own property. All you got to do is research it. I've had some serious breathing issues this year and allergies issues, and I've been able to resolve those with natural substances, primarily peppermint tea. So grow peppermints and then herbs. There's a YouTuber out there who talks about this stuff regularly. So instead of stockpiling all your medications and your over-the-counter stuff and all that stuff, figure out how to take care of yourself. It's all out there. My grandpa was a naturalist. One of the things that I take every day for the last 20 years is two garlic tablets. Buy them at Walmart. Now, we could grow our own garlic. I wouldn't have to buy the tablets. But what garlic does, and I'm absolutely convinced of this, it's better than penicillin, is it takes care of infections. You get throat infections and you get sinus infections and ear infections. I haven't had any of those. I hope I can inspire you to learn how to self-sustain when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.